For 30 years, it has been the holy grail of retirement. The magic number. The promise that if you just withdraw 4% of your portfolio every year, adjusted for inflation, you'll never run out of money. It's been preached by every financial advisor from Wall Street to Main Street. It's been etched into the mind of every working professional in America as the ultimate safety net. But I'm here to tell you something your broker won't, and your favorite finance blog is too scared to admit. The 4% rule is dead. It's not just outdated, it's a mathematical trap that will leave you broke, anxious, and out of options by the time you hit 75. The world has changed, the math has shifted, and if you're still using a formula from 1994 to fund a life in 2026, you are sailing a paper boat into a Category 5 hurricane. You've heard the whispers in coffee shops and read the headlines about financial freedom. But most people are chasing a ghost. Today, we are going to dissect the corpse of the 4% rule. I'm going to show you exactly why it failed, the silent killers that eat your net worth, and most importantly, I'm going to show you the new math of retirement, the only way to actually stay free in a world designed to keep you on the treadmill. If you think hitting a number on a screen is a magic pill for financial anxiety, you are in for a very rude awakening. Money stress doesn't stop because of a percentage. It stops when your math matches reality. Let's get to work. To understand why the 4% rule is a lie today, we have to look at where it came from. In 1994, Bill Bengen conducted the Trinity Study. He looked at historical data and concluded that a 4% withdrawal rate was the safe limit. But look at the world Bengen was living in. In 1994, the big three, housing, healthcare, and education, didn't consume 70% of a household's net worth. Inflation was a predictable breeze, not a silent predator. $100,000 in 1994 actually bought you a luxury lifestyle. It bought the big house, the luxury car, and the private school. Today, $100,000 is the new $50,000. It's the entry fee for a responsible middle-class life in cities like Austin, Nashville, or Charlotte. If you live in New York or San Francisco, 6 figures is just survival. The Trinity Study assumed a world of linear growth and standard inflation. It didn't account for the silent inflation of the 2020s, the way the cost of actual quality of life has skyrocketed while the government's CPI numbers tell you everything is fine because the price of a flat-screen TV went down. You aren't just fighting market drops anymore. You're fighting a system that is actively devaluing your silence and your savings. If your safe withdrawal rate doesn't account for a 300% increase in healthcare costs over 20 years, your rule isn't safe. It's a countdown to poverty. This is where the gurus get quiet. They talk about gross income and portfolio value, because those are the big sexy numbers that sell courses. But John Financial doesn't care about your gross. I care about your net efficiency. When you cross the $100,000 threshold in the United States, you aren't just earning more. You are being hunted more effectively by the IRS. Once you move past that $95,000 mark as a single filer, you are firmly in the 24% federal tax bracket. When you add in state taxes, FICA, and the myriad of local taxes, you realize very quickly that for every extra dollar you withdraw from your 4% plan, you're keeping significantly less than you think. The 4% rule fails to address the tax cliff. If you withdraw $40,000 from a $1 million 401k, you aren't getting $40,000. You're getting $40,000 minus the government's cut. And as the national debt climbs into the trillions, do you really think tax rates are going down in the next 20 years? If you are making 6 figures and paying maximum taxes because you don't have a strategy, You aren't an earner. You're a donor. And donors are always stressed because they are working 4 months out of the year just to fund a system that doesn't care about their retirement. To stop the stress, you have to stop obsessing over the withdrawal percentage and start obsessing over your net efficiency. Are you using Roth conversions? Are you maximizing HSAs? If your math doesn't include the IRS as a permanent hungry partner in your portfolio, your 4% rule is actually a 2.5% rule in disguise. The reason you still feel stressed at $100,000 or even $200,000 is because of the anchor effect. You've spent a decade telling yourself, once I hit the 6-figure mark, I'll be set. So, the second you hit it, your brain gives you subconscious permission to stop being disciplined. You buy the truck you've wanted. You move into the apartment with the better view. You start eating out 4 nights a week. This is lifestyle creep, and it is the primary reason why money stress follows people all the way up the income ladder. The 4% rule assumes a stagnant lifestyle, but humans are not stagnant. We are signalers. In America, we are conditioned to signal our status the moment we reach a new threshold. We want everyone to know we've made it. But status is the enemy of freedom. If you want the stress to stop, you have to be invisible. You need to live like you're still making $60,000 while you're earning $150,000. That gap, that wide, beautiful canyon between what you earn and what you spend, is your war chest. That is the money that buys your silence. The 4% rule fails because it tries to fund a lifestyle that is constantly trying to expand. You don't need a higher withdrawal rate. You need a smaller ego. The greatest stress reliever in the world is not a luxury car. It's FU money. And you start building that the second you decide not to upgrade your life just because your bank account had a good year. So, when does the stress actually die? It stops at what I call the velocity point. Most people use money as a medium of exchange. They trade an hour of their life for $50, and then they trade that $50 for a steak. That is a linear, exhausting relationship. You are a hamster on a gold-plated wheel. Money stress stops when your money starts having its own velocity. This usually happens around the time you have your first $100,000 in invested assets. Not equity in your home, not the value of your cars. Hard, liquid, invested assets. Charlie Munger was right. The first 100,000 is a nightmare. But you have to do it. Why? Because that's the point where the math changes. If you have 100K invested and the market grows by 7%, that's $7,000 a year you didn't have to work for. That's nearly $600 a month. That covers the groceries. That covers the utilities. The moment your assets start covering your basic survival needs is the moment the deep stress, that primal fear of being homeless, finally begins to evaporate. You realize that even if you stopped working tomorrow, the machine you built would still feed you. The 4% rule is a withdrawal strategy. The velocity point is a freedom strategy. You don't want to withdraw from your seed corn. You want to live off the excess velocity of the machine. To replace the dead 4% rule, you need a system that makes the market's opinion of your portfolio irrelevant. You need a 3-tier defense system. Tier 1, the 6-month liquidity wall. This must be in a boring, high-yield savings account. It's not for growth. It's for your sleep. If you get laid off, if the roof leaks, if the car dies, you don't care. You have the cash. Tier 2, the insurance wall. Most Americans are one major medical bill away from bankruptcy. You need to be properly insured so that a single accident doesn't wipe out 5 years of compounding. Tier 3, the opportunity fund. This is the money you keep ready for when the market crashes. While everyone else is panicking because their 4% rule is being threatened by a bear market, you are deploying capital and buying assets at a discount. When you have these 3 tiers in place, your brain stops scanning the horizon for threats. It stops living in survival mode and switches to command mode. You stop being a victim of the economy and start being an architect of your own wealth. The 4% rule is a passive, hopeful strategy. The 3-tier system is an active, defensive strategy. In 2026, hope is not a financial plan. Precision is. $100,000 should never be your destination. It should be your refueling station. I've seen too many professionals hit 6 figures and stay there for 20 years. They get comfortable. They buy the house, pay the bills, and stop growing. They think they've arrived. But in a world where the government prints trillions, staying the same is actually falling behind. You are losing purchasing power every single hour you aren't growing. The 100K threshold is the point where you now have the capital to take calculated risks. It's where you can afford to invest in your own education, start that side business, or buy income-producing real estate. The stress stops when you stop viewing money as something you spend and start viewing it as something you deploy. When you stop working for dollars and start making your dollars work for you, the silence is deafening. No more debt collectors, no more insufficient funds notices, no more fear of the what if. The 4% rule is a ghost of a world that no longer exists. If you walk through the 6-figure gate and keep your old poor habits, you'll just be a person with a higher tax bill and the same anxiety. If you walk through it and adopt the habits of the wealthy, invisibility, efficiency, and velocity, the stress dies at the door. Fix your habits, fix your math, and the stress will fix itself. Before you close this video, I want you to do one thing. Open your bank app, calculate your gap, take your net income and subtract your survival expenses. If that number is less than 20% of your paycheck, you are in the trap. You need to either cut costs or increase your value immediately. Kill the high-interest parasites. If you are making 6 figures and carrying credit card debt, you are burning your own house down while trying to decorate the living room. Kill those debts today. The $100,000 threshold is waiting for you. But remember, the money only stops the stress if you have the discipline to keep the money. Don't be the person who looks rich but feels poor. Be the person who is silent, secure, and free. I'm John Financial. I don't care about your title. I care about your balance sheet. Go get to work. I'll see you in the next one.